Gentlemen, today we're talking about something that never goes out of style, and that's class. Now, these are the behaviors, the habits, and the little things that separate a man from a gentleman. Now, I'm going to list out several things that men with class know how to do, and if you're over 40, this gets even more important. First, men with class know how to carry a conversation. A man with class is never the loudest guy in the room, but he's usually the most memorable, and it's because he listens, he engages, right? He doesn't cut people off and talk over people or constantly redirect the topic back to himself. He asks thoughtful questions and he remembers small details. He's not trying to impress people, he's trying to connect with people. And if you think about it, it's pretty rare today, and it's also pretty powerful. Because in a world right now that we're all so consumed with ourselves and our own lives, when you're in a group setting, it can be pretty difficult to contribute to the conversation because everybody else wants to talk about their perspective or their story. And of course, I'm sure we've all been there, but if there's someone in your group that's a talker and the subject relates to something that you have knowledge about or that you have a story about, it can be pretty difficult to sort of jump in and contribute. And I think for me personally, this is something that I'm actively working on, right? I don't always need to share my opinion or share my perspective, and that's okay. Because if the conversation moves on beyond that particular topic and I don't get to share my story, it's not the end of the world. If I have to, I can always try to circle back to it, but otherwise it's not that big of a deal. But a lot of the time when that one person who's dominating the conversation, they will eventually realize that they're the only ones talking and they'll take a break, at least hopefully. Men with class also understand the basics of style and fit. They don't chase trends, but they know what fits their body and what suits their own individual personal style, and they also know how to dress for the occasion. They understand that clothes say something even before they do. They try to invest in quality over quantity, tailoring over big logos, and confidence over flash and bling. They always make sure their shoes are clean because, trust me, people notice. They also know how to order at a restaurant and they know how to treat the staff. He's not completely clueless about wine or overwhelmed by a menu. He doesn't bark orders at the waiter. He treats the staff with the same respect as everybody else. Class is revealed by how you treat people who can't offer you anything in return. Even if the service is bad, he handles it with patience and maturity. A few quick things about wine, because if you're new to wine, the wine list at restaurants can be somewhat overwhelming. Let me give you a few wines that are popular, easy to drink, and also very delicious, so you can look like you know exactly what you're doing when you're ordering wine. And at least for me, the choices that I make with wine have to do with the time of day and if I'm eating. If it's a warm, hot summer day, I want something that's light and citrusy or something maybe refreshing with bubbles. If it's an evening situation and I'm having a nice dinner, I'm definitely going for something red. Okay, real quick, starting off with bubbles. Hands down, Prosecco. This is a dry, sparkling wine that's light-bodied, refreshing, and super easy to drink. I've also been enjoying sparkling rosé lately because it's getting really hot here in Southern California where I live. And you can get a sparkling rosé in either dry or sweet, but I definitely prefer something dry. And with a sparkling rosé that's dry, the only sweetness that you might taste is from the red fruit, right? So think of it like this. Think about having a glass of Prosecco and then dropping in a strawberry or dropping in a raspberry into the glass. The slight sweetness that you'll probably get is from that type of fruit. It's barely noticeable at all, and it's not offensive. I'm not a personal fan of sweet wine, so I'm not going to steer you wrong. Okay, quickly moving on to two more crowd-pleasing white wines that are perfect for the beginner wine drinker, or really any wine drinker for that matter. The first one is Pinot Grigio. This is a very simple wine with fruity notes like apple and lemon. Great examples of Pinot Grigio come from Italy and also California. The next white wine I would recommend is Sauvignon Blanc. Now, this might be one of the best beginner wines because it's smooth, it's got light, balanced flavors of green, citrus, and floral. Great examples of this come from France and also California. Some people don't like Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand because it can be a little pungent, but still very delicious. But if you're new to wine drinking, I would stick with France or California for Sauvignon Blanc. Okay, a few red wines to start with would be Sangiovese, or if you're at an Italian restaurant, it's going to be called Chianti. This is a medium-bodied red wine from Italy with notes of red fruit like cherry, plum, and some strawberry. There's also some savory notes in there like rosemary and some leather. Pinot Noir is another crowd pleaser. It's a safe bet, and it's also one of my favorite wines. Great examples of Pinot come from France, Oregon, and also California. Now, this is generally going to be a light to medium-bodied wine with complex flavors that include raspberry, vanilla, and some baking spice, and also, very interestingly, forest floor. This is a very nuanced, fruity wine that sparks a lot of conversation, and it's also very delicious. And if you want to try some fantastic examples of some of the wines that I just talked about and a few more, you've got to check out my new wine brand, Dean Michael. I started this wine brand a few months ago, earlier this year, and this has been a labor of love. So Dean Michael was my older brother who passed away when we were both teenagers. I was 15, he was almost 18. So this is my way to sort of bring his name back to life. And like I mentioned, I launched the brand a few months ago, and I launched with 4 different varietals. There's a Sauvignon Blanc, there's a Chardonnay that's made in stainless steel, there's also a Pinot Noir, which is amazing, and also a Cabernet Sauvignon that is amazing. And I know that a lot of you have tried the wine, and I've heard nothing but amazing feedback about it, so I'm so happy that you guys are all enjoying it. There's also a little paragraph on the side of every bottle that I wrote, and it's kind of meaningful to me. So if you want to grab some bottles, maybe to have on hand for your next dinner party or your next Wednesday night, I'm going to put a link down below in the description, along with a limited time discount code that's going to save you some cash. I know you guys are going to love this wine, and I appreciate your support. Okay, men with class also know how to give a real compliment, right? These guys aren't out there complimenting every single woman that they see with some creepy wink, because he's not trying to dish out fake flattery to try to get something in return. When a man with class gives a compliment, whether if it's to a woman, a friend, or a coworker, it's sincere. It's also specific, and it's delivered without expecting anything in return. It might be, "Great job on that presentation yesterday," or "I saw what you did and you handled that situation really well and with grace," or even, "You look stunning tonight," or if it's a friend, "That shirt fits you really well, my friend, well done." Now, this next one is a little more subtle, but it's undeniable because we've all seen it. These guys know how to walk into a room with presence. A guy with class doesn't peacock or puff out his chest. He doesn't have to. He just moves through space with calm purpose. He's got good posture, a confident walk, and eye contact. And that's pretty much all it really takes, and people feel it. When you walk into a room like you belong there, you look like you do. This next one is huge, and it could be your superpower. Men with class know how to make other people feel valued. Men with class don't need to take all the credit because they want to make you feel important as well. They remember your name. They follow up. They say thank you. They notice the effort that other people put in, and they acknowledge it. Whether it's the receptionist, the server, the Uber driver, or your date that's across the table, guys with class create an atmosphere that says, "You matter." And in a world that's full of people chasing validation right now, this kind of energy is rare, but also magnetic. They also understand basic etiquette, even in today's ultra-casual world. And just because everything is super casual these days, that doesn't mean that you should be careless. Men with class understand timeless etiquette. They know how to introduce people correctly. They stand up when shaking hands. They open doors, and they don't speak with food in their mouth. They RSVP. They show up on time, and they don't ghost people. And sure, that might seem old school, but there's a reason that these things have stuck around. They work. And here's one you might enjoy. Men with class also know how to apologize and actually mean it. Every single one of us messes up from time to time. That's not the issue. The issue is the men who refuse to own it. Classy guys take responsibility without deflecting. He'll say, "You know what? I was wrong. I should not have done that, and that's totally on me." Then he follows up with better behavior, because real men don't hide behind their pride. They grow past it and get better. It's simple, gentlemen. It's just about self-awareness, discipline, and respect. Not only for other people, but for yourself as well. And if you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and hit the like button for the algorithm, and consider subscribing if you're not already. Thank you so much for watching. Live well, and I'll see you in the next one.